Hello everyone, my name is Nocturne, and welcome back to some more Final Fantasy XIII. We are now going to go ahead and get into episode 2 of our story primer, and as you can see, we have quite a few to catch up on. To give you guys a sense of where we are in line with the LP, we just finished defeating Odin and getting him as Lightning's Eidolon, however you want to pronounce it. So I guess let's go ahead and get started here. Chapter 1. We are a bit behind. I also kind of wanted to apologize. I had meant to do these a bit more often, because I wanted to try and keep them short, no more than 5 or 10 minutes, because I have a feeling not a whole lot of you are going to be interested in watching this, but I figure if I keep them short, maybe it'll be a little more attractive to those who are just more interested in the LP side of things. But I really hope everyone is watching this, because the story in this game, I think, is really rich enough that it deserves the attention of even reading the little text logs here. So, first one. All the way back in Chapter 1, you guys remember the first few episodes. The peaceful citizens of Cocoon live in constant fear of invasion by forces of Pulse, the world below and supposed home of terrors unknown. Were even a single Pulsian agent to be discovered on Cocoon, panic and civil unrest would be sure to follow, threatening the very fabric of society. To prevent such a calamity, the Sanctum, Cocoon's governing body, initiates the Purge, a government initiative officially entailing the deportation of all those who may have come into contact with corrupting Impulsian influences. However, the Sanctum army is now brutally slaughtering the civilians that were supposed to be departing. Realizing that the Purge is nothing more than a massacre in disguise, Snow leads the young freedom fighters of Nora in an effort to protect the Purge deportees from the Sanctum soldiers. Warpath Home. The Purge is a Sanctum initiative designed to protect the stability of Cocoon by forcing potential dangerous civilians to relocate to Pulse. However, the relocation is simply a facade to cover the massacre that ensues. The government's true goal is the brutal extermination of all possible threats to a peaceful society. Having discovered the horrific truth, Snow leaves the members of Nora leads against the government soldiers of XIII. Inspired by the actions of this handful of brave young men and women, the beleaguered civilians take heart and join the battle in hope of returning to a normal life. Among the citizens who stand against the forces of XIII is a mother who wishes for nothing more than to protect her son. Fallen Innocents. Some of these do seem to cover kind of the same thing, but I'm going to go through all of them anyway, just because they're here. Cocoon citizens have always been terrified of Pulse and the mysterious horrors that are said to stalk its hostile wastelands. Their fear is so great that if a Cocoon native were to have even the briefest contact with Pulsian elements, former friends and neighbors would consider them corrupted and dangerous. In light of this fact, Sanctum orders the purging of Bottom, in an effort to remove all potentially Pulse-tainted civilians. Accordingly, soldiers round up all those identified as candidates for relocation and inform them of their impending exile. However, XIII, the elite arm of the Sanctum military, then begins to massacre the helpless civilians. This prompts Snow to lead the people in a rebellion against the army. Tragically, one of the civilians who decided to follow him, hoping to protect her son, dies in the act of saving Snow's life. From afar, the boy witnesses the moment of his mother's death in shock and disbelief. The fal'Cie awaits. Just before we went and found... well, probably not, no. I was going to say just before we went to go fight Anima. A massive object is transported through the sky over the Hanging Edge. This object is a Pulse vestige, a lower world artifact that has been nothing more than a Bottom landmark. 2 days ago it was discovered that the vestige housed a long-dormant Pulse fal'Cie. The fal'Cie had slumbered undisturbed on the outskirts of Cocoon City for centuries. The Sanctum decrees that the presence of the Pulse entity and its corrupting magics have tainted the entire population of the city and orders the Purge. For different reasons, Lightning and Saz now make their way towards the very being that was the catalyst for so much tragedy. Snow, meanwhile, is crushed by feelings of guilt after many die under his command. He only emerges from his gloom when Godot reminds him that the fal'Cie is holding a certain young lady captive, who needs her hero now more than ever. Into the vestige. Snow still cannot shake his feelings of guilt. Despite his efforts to protect the Purge deportees from the Sanctum forces, many have fallen. The death of one woman in particular haunts his thoughts. A mother fighting for the sake of her son, who gave her life to save Snow. In the moments before her death, the woman begged the leader of Nora to take care of her child, but slipped from Snow's grasp without really revealing the boy's identity. With Godot's help, Snow breaks out of his depression. He figures that if he just goes ahead and protects everyone, well then, the woman's son will be saved as well. After checking to see if the children are safe, Snow leaves the waning battle to his fellow Nora members and sets off with new determination towards the vestige. His fiancée is still held captive by the Pulse fal'Cie. A boy watches him leave, eyes filled with rage and loathing. To his grief-stricken mind, Snow is responsible for his mother's death. And that catches us up through Chapter 1. Alright, still got a little time. Let's jump into Chapter 2 here. In pursuit of Snow. Hope has fallen into a panic. In his single-minded pursuit of Snow, he has rushed into the lair of a fal'Cie and is only now recalling the terrible nature of the being that lurks within. The Pulse entity could use its power to curse them, turning them into l'Cie. Pulse l'Cie are the doomed servants of the fal'Cie who created them, despised and feared by the people of Cocoon. Hope's companion, Vanille, seems unconcerned by this dreadful possibility. Bemused by her indomitable cheerfulness, he nervously follows her in search of Snow. It was Snow who convinced his mother to fight. It was Snow she was protecting when she died, and it's Snow who must be made to pay. Where men fear to tread. To the citizens of Cocoon, the lower world of Pulse is a hell rife with unknown terrors, and the recently discovered Pulse fal'Cie is an invader from that hell. In an effort to quell the growing panic in the wake of the entity's discovery, the Sanctum initiates the extreme measure known as the Purge. Under this initiative, not only is the fal'Cie to be cast out of Cocoon, but all of the civilians living nearby as well. Any person coming into contact with the lower world being's foul energies could already be corrupted, and no potential enemies of Cocoon can be allowed to remain. The ensuing deportation claims the lives of countless civilians, Hope's mother among them. After witnessing her death and chasing Snow into the vestige in a blind rage, Hope suddenly realizes that he may soon share the same fate as the Pulse fal'Cie, relocation to the world below. Vanille, however, calmly accepts the situation and lends her support to the distraught boy. Unaware of his young pursuers, Snow begins exploring the arcane halls and chambers of the shrine-like vestige in search of his captive fiancée, Sarah. Open doors beckon. The Pulse fal'Cie, an entity that threatens the peace of Cocoon society, holds Snow's fiancée captive. As the determined Snow delves ever deeper into the alien structure, Lightning and Saz arrive at the vestige after fighting their way through waves of Sanctum forces. The unlikely duo's progress is halted by an impassable gate, which finally opens as if in response to Lightning's whispered words of apology. Did her plea reach the mind of the fal'Cie, or was another being responsible for opening the portal? Saz follows the ex-soldier into the vestige, bemused by the lack of explanation, but driven on nonetheless by a purpose he has yet to reveal. In the shadow of l'Cie. Military weapons stalk the halls of the vestige. Though the PSICOM recon team that uncovered the lower world being 2 days previous is still trapped inside, Lightning and Saz know that the real threat is not part of the Sanctum army, but the Pulse fal'Cie and its servant l'Cie. The Pulse l'Cie are former humans who have become agents of destruction. Those residents living near the vestige face being purged simply because of their proximity to the fal'Cie and the possibility that its power has bound them into servitude. With tales of l'Cie haunting his thoughts, Hope hears Snow's voice calling in the distance. Although he plans to confront Snow over his mother's death, the reality of the situation becomes too much for Hope to bear. He cannot go through with it. Not yet. Saving the enemy. Pulse l'Cie are cursed beings who wield supernatural powers and whose very existence incites panic and destruction. Hope explodes into a rage upon hearing that Snow plans to rescue Sarah, now a l'Cie herself. Even if she is Snow's fiancée, nothing good can come of helping a sworn enemy of Cocoon. The situation only serves to magnify Hope's hatred of the man he holds responsible for his mother's death. Shaking with fury, he is unable to form the words he so desperately wants to say. Oblivious to Hope's anger and worried for their safety, Snow decides to bring Hope and Vanille along on his mission. Meanwhile, Saz explains the cruel fate of a person cursed as a l'Cie. L'Cie are bound in eternal service to a fal'Cie, and failure to carry out a focus results in the transformation to a mindless abomination, a Seath. A person shackled by the l'Cie curse is beyond salvation. As Saz comes to this grim conclusion, Lightning angrily compares him to those who insisted on the purge. She knows full well the doom that awaits LSE and will do anything in her power to save her sister from that fate. The Gift of Eternity. A legend on Cocoon states that if LSE completes the focus given by a fal'Cie, they turn into crystal and gain eternal life. And just as the legend describes, Sarah, Lightning's younger sister and fiancée to Snow, glows with incredible light and turns into crystal. But has she truly gained eternal life? And what focus has she completed? This timeless crystal sleep seems nothing more than another form of death to Lightning, and she turns her feelings of grief and anger upon Snow. Snow, however, refuses to give up hope of a future where Sarah will return to him. Just then, the Sanctum Army begins its assault on the Vestige. Though it may mean sharing the Vestige's imminent destruction, the group heads ever deeper into the complex. Snow seeks to persuade the fal'Cie to release his fiancée, while Lightning and Saz have other plans in mind. And I think that's just about 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and say thanks guys for sticking around to listen. I hope these primers are something you're enjoying, you're finding useful. So this has been Nocturne. I will see you guys in the very next primer episode.